Ford came late in the day to Group B, but this RS200 would certainly have won World Championship rallies had the supercar era continued. As it was, Ford had to make do with winning the British Rally Championship in 1986. To meet Group B requirements, only 200 cars had to be built, and just 20 of these were allowed to be no-holds-barred Evolution versions with the most tenuous of links to the homologated model. Four-wheel drive was essential to be competitive, and having had no previous experience with this transmission system in competition, Ford started late with its gear-styled RS200. Previewed in 1984, it won on its debut in 1985 and was by no means at its peak in 1986 when FISA abruptly killed off Group B. Without doubt, the Ford RS200 could have been one of the best ever had it been given a real chance. Based on an aluminium honeycomb carbon fibre composite shell, the mid-engined RS200 used a 1.8-litre Cosworth engine and an all-wheel drive transmission system. The road cars produced to meet homologation requirements had a mere 250 horsepower. The early works rally cars had 450 brake horsepower, and before the end of that first season in 1985, over 500 horsepower was available in the Evo versions.
In many ways, the RS200 suffered from some of the things that we're suffering from a little bit with the Focus now. The car, the concept and everything about the car was absolutely terrific. You know, very low centre of gravity. The engine was very low. The weight distribution was fantastic. But the car was basically it was too heavy because at those days I think we had a weight limit of sort of around about 1,000 kilos, and we were something like, I think it was even 200 kilos over. So it was a big difference, and obviously weight is performance. But certainly on the rough rallies, there was no better car. I mean, the suspension, the amount of travel, and the double shock absorbers on each corner. There was just absolutely nothing could touch it on things like Acropolis, and I think it would have been brilliant on Safari, that type of an event.
Compared with its rivals, the RS200 was better in rough going, with suspension settings that were almost infinitely adjustable. Stig Blomqvist and Carly Grundle were down to drive works cars in the 1986 World Series, while Mark Lovell was to contest the British Championship. After a promising third place on its debut World Championship event, the RS200's impact on the world scene was then ruined by the cancellation of Group B. At national championship level across Europe, however, Group B cars remained eligible. The RS200 scored no less than 19 outright national wins in 1986 and took several national titles. One of these was the British, thanks to the driving skills of Mark Lovell. The 2.1-litre RS200E was planned for 1987 and put out over 600 horsepower, which put it right up there with the Pikes Peak Quattro as the most powerful rally car ever built.